Welcome, everybody. Call the meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, June 23rd. And so we will get kicked off with as soon as I'm going to stall slowly until Maddie gets back to her seat. Take attendance.
Good. Holly Thurston. Here. Eric Talbot.
Here.
Michael Aronson. Here. Richard Klein.
Here.
And Chair Roll.
Here. Very good. So we have a quorum, and all members today will be voting. Before we get into, we have just, I guess, approval from the main minutes. I just want to make sure that we have a quorum for that. And we do, so I think everybody here is that true. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've almost did Pam. All right, so Pam was here and is not here, and I guess we're not here, Eric. Yeah. Okay. So last, Eric, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Right, any objections from my group? None. Okay, motion carries. Minutes are approved. We can jump right into our agenda. So first up, we have new business 42 Eastern, and this is a VAR application for the approval of a proposed rear yard addition. So we'll bring the applicant up, and I think that's everything up just by way of a little bit of background and understanding is that this application is still in front of the ZBA for a driveway setback variance.
Impervious coverage. So the ZBA requested a couple amendments to the plan, we cannot back from the VARs in that tonight, and it's the driveway, which I'm going to your purview here. So they're here, and you can proceed as.
Right, and any approval would be conditional upon the ZBA resolution and approval. Okay. So with that, you can, we'll take the applicants here. So you can introduce yourself, just name your role in the project. And then Maddie will share your drawings and we will discuss.
Good evening, my name is Doug Santos. I am the owner of 42 Eastern Avenue. Looking for approval to expand upon a small residence that I purchased, which to just modernize basically the house, keeping a lot of its, colonial effects that the house already has. Basically just updating the house, making it more modern, adding a first floor bedroom to the house, adding a front porch, kind of relate with the property. As stated in the architect's letter, what we're proposing here is nothing outside of what my neighbors have. I'm still one of the smallest houses on the block. I just wanna modernize it, I guess is the right term.
Sure. And then actually, maybe it would be helpful just to do a quick look
Google
street view.
Yeah.
Just to give everybody here some context of what the other houses look like. Components of our review here. And then while Matt is pulling that up, are there any questions or comments or reactions from the board?
So while she's pulling that up, I'll just continue reading his letter. Exterior extremities will consist of the white windows, gray siding with white trim, white railings, charcoal colored roof. Materials and colors are consistent with those of my surrounding neighbors. The proposed enlargement of the front porch is keeping with the character surrounding neighborhood. Comparable front porch punches, which she'll pull up now. And basically my improvements are in line with the rest of the neighborhood. Directly across the street from a parking lot, from the St. Anne's parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's my house.
I'm trying to scroll, I'm not trying.
That's the house, he blames you missed it.
Just trying to spin around.
Yeah.
Whoa, it's like a lot of effort. Sorry.
But I think that even just that scrolling gives us, I think, a good sense of the scale of the neighborhood and the house relative to it. So that was really helpful.
Yeah, it's right on the flat part of Eastern Ave, I think it's on the flat.
Yep.
So you would remove the front door and make that a window and then shift I'm just trying to remember the
Yes,
drawings.
so if the house already has that little existing side, it's technically a room, so I'm gonna make that the main entrance to the house.
Oh.
So that the porch kind of looks a little bit more big. Yeah, so the house building gives it a little bit more symmetry, I guess, with the windows that are there and let the entrance to the side.
That's facing the street.
Correct.
I think it looks nice.
Looks good.
I think we have sides too, right?
Yeah, so above is what the existing looks like, and then this is what the proposed addition is. So right now we have a bump out where the kitchen is. I'm basically extending that up to the second floor. And then where the deck is where the addition would be on the first floor, so you can kind of see that proportional house.
Got it. That's the other side.
Yeah, and then that'll be the other side.
I think the materials are pretty clearly laid out in the schedule there, in the bottom corner. So,
I would just put this, any other kind of thoughts, comments, or feedback from the board before we go to the public hearing? Yeah, you have a motion to open the public hearing on the application?
Michael Aronson, motion to open a public hearing.
And first and second.
Any objections to that? And we're in a public hearing. Is there anybody in the room today to speak to this application? Not see anybody. Is there anybody on Zoom to speak to this application? You can use the hand raise function and I'm getting a signal that there is nobody. Like that. All right, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
motion to close, Richard Warren.
Sounds a second. All right, any objections to that? The public hearing is closed. We've already listed out one condition. I did not hear any other feedback from the board other than it's a nice design. So can I have a motion to approve the application with the condition that receives zoning?
Richard Klein, motion to approve subject to the zoning.
Michael Aronson, second.
All right, we'll do a roll call.
Okay, Holly Thurston. Aye. Eric Talbot.
Aye.
Michael Aronson.
Aye.
Richard Klein.
Aye.
Chair Roy.
Aye. Very good. Look, all right, so I guess normally I say wait till you have the resolution and the building permit, but I guess you have another step with zoning as well, but
Yeah.
for the fucking.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we have EAR 08/2026. This is for 8 Jenkins Court, and this is a addition of a front yard portico and staircase. So welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Michael Bevavino, architecture. I'm here representing Erica and Grant Bay at 8 Jenkins Court. They're looking to replace their existing front steps. They're currently constructed out of, the railroad ties, those wood railroad ties that are found around Ossining. They're in a pretty bad state of disrepair. They're kind of rotting and falling apart. So they're looking to do what a lot of their neighbors, a lot of their neighbors on 8 Jenkins have done, kind of replace it with a stone and concrete base, and along with that, add a small portico that's within the zoning allowance above the front door, similar to what their neighbors did at Jenkins. We are over the front yard setback, as is everybody else in this neighborhood. The good news is that we're reducing the amount of non-conformance. I think the existing stairs are only 3 and change away from the property line, and the new stair will be 6.5 feet. So we received approval from the zoning board earlier this month, and I was just looking for a higher approval.
Great. Maddie, you mind putting up the drawings?
Different than 8 Jenkins, they're going for like a darker theme, so. Than 10 Jenkins, it's a sample of the stone, if you'd like to see it. That's how they picture it. It is.
Yeah.
So the existing house, there's the proposed elevation. Pretty straightforward. So stone base and then black aluminum rails, and then portico will be white AZAC And asphalt roofs are kind of that big thing.
I think that 10 Jenkins photo that you showed before, those were like a wooden railing, it was like a chunkier. I think it's good that it's distinguishing itself from what was over there. I know that this neighborhood, I think these houses were all kind of developed as a subdevelopment, so. As these houses change, I think, in our limited role as a PAR is kind of seeing some distinction. And I think this accomplishes that, even though it's kind of keeping a look at their boats done. It's a nice improvement. And I have a motion to open the public hearing.
I'm Clarence, and motion to open the public hearing.
Second. Sorry, any objections? Any, all right, is there anybody in the room here to speak to this application? See anybody? Is there anybody on Zoom? It's the hand raise function, anybody's already shaking your head, so there's nobody in the room, so with that, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Should close the public hearing.
Eric Salmon, second. Great. Any objections to that? It's done. We are, all right, so any other comments or thoughts from the board? I think this one's pretty straightforward. It was nice. I could have a motion to approve the application.
Clarence, and motion to approve the application.
Richard Klein, second. All right, let's do a roll call.
Eric Talbot.
Aye.
Michael Robinson. Richard Klein. Chair Roy.
Okay. Thank you. Thought you were getting up early.
I like to be in front of you guys as much as possible.
Such a fun group. Okay, so. So.
We are a good group.
Now, we have, all right, so we're gonna go back to 34 State Street. So we are, at this point, I'll let the applicant give us a quick update with where they are. I think just as a reminder, we adopted the negative declaration last meeting, and I think since then, been before the zoning board, HPC, and I think they're just those two, right? And was there one other thing? Yeah, that's good.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Stole my thunder. I
Sorry.
was about to say, we're grateful that you adopted it in that meeting. Since that time, as mentioned, we received approval from the agency as well as the zoning board of appeal. We did make a submission to you that responded further to the comments of your consultants and professional staff. We believe that we are very close with regard to satisfying all of those comments. I think that many of those remaining comments, we would respectfully request that those be conditions of approval. We're here to talk to you this evening about anything you'd like to talk to us about in connection with our submission that we made earlier this month. We're hopeful that you are in a position to refer us to the board of trustees for them. We'd like to project forward.
Sounds great. So maybe it would be helpful to start off by putting, I think, the site plan revisions that were submitted since our last meeting. And I apologize because I know I'm forgetting your name because we have Bill, sorry, I'm sorry. He's sitting here for Valerie, and if there's any kind of specific comments that might be helpful to highlight for us as we go through this site.
No specifics, again,
Yeah.
Valerie provided that memo on June 18th, very detailed, again, at the end of the memo, there were a lot of conditions that you just wanted to make sure that you all understand that those will be kind of put together, with the board's approval resolution, so, those are within the memo now, it'll be built from there. And she also pointed out that as Janet's probably gonna mention, and you're gonna mention that the next step is going to the village board after your recommendations on it to them for the special permit, then back to this board for final site plan approval.
Right, and Tony, any thoughts on your end? I know that you're in a similar place.
Yeah, they've been working through our comments, the remaining comments we really have are really detailed oriented, some of the offsite improvements, I'll sit down and get the details finalized with the village engineer. Some health department, which you're working through and working with their engineer. One of the big components I kind of wanted to get a feel for the board is the lighting, just so I can kind of cross those comments off my memo as well. I just wanna make sure the board's happy with the lighting, the fixtures. And there's pretty much no light trespass, just wanna make sure you're happy with the fixtures and
Okay,
all that, but.
so,
We have our team here this evening. We're happy to show you anything you'd like to see.
sure, and I think, so maybe we can kind of look through, I think site plan change or kind of, evolution was related to the, I guess the recreational space that was developed kind of along State Street, so I think we can maybe take a look at that, and then maybe go from there, look at the lighting plan, and then we can kind of confer as a board and see if we're ready to push this over to the BOT for the special permit.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
So, regarding the recreation space, we heard the comments from the planning board. We spent a lot of time working with the consultants on various alternatives, different locations. And ultimately, we were able to create a recreation area in between State Street. It was an area where we could grade out a level area, we could try and make use of some of the existing trees that we're gonna try and preserve to the best of our ability. And it kind of made the most sense as far as creating an area that was accessible to most of the residents. We studied areas behind the building, behind building 3 to the left of the screen. It was remote, ADA accessibility was difficult, which is one of our concerns. As a recreation area, a publicly accessible space, we have to make sure it's ADA compliant. It seemed natural to have it in the vicinity of the Smith Robbins house, which is going to be an amenity space. So it kind of is building off of that. There's a nice patio there next to it. We studied some other areas. There's a corner of the property on the corner of State and South James. Again, it felt remote. You would have to cross the driveway to get to it. So this ultimately was the ideal location. So as part of that, we submitted an updated landscaping plan, just showing some of our landscaping in and around that area, as well as updating the landscaping throughout the plan.
Great, and I think there was a grading plan that went along with that, because I think when I first saw that, just kind of understanding how you were achieving that flatter area, it looks like there's a little bit of a retaining wall going in on the, I guess that would be on the south end of that lawn.
So yeah, so what we're gonna do in order to, and this was really more for the sidewalk than for the recreation area. If you remember in our last iteration, we actually had a crosswalk coming across and the sidewalk going down the other side of the driveway. We didn't like that design ourselves. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna build an extension of the existing walls out there that comes into our site and tapers down. And that allows us to pick up a little bit extra room to continue the sidewalk on our side of the property. It also seemed like a logical way to make it adjacent to the recreation area. One of the things we were was, to your point, sensitive about the grading, because we also have our area of reinforced soil there for the fire department. So they too have access along the property buildings. And we thought by bringing the sidewalk to that side, it kind of tied the space, better access to the property, better access to downtown Ossining.
So what's the material finish on that, on the fire truck access? That's
Sure. It's fiber reinforced soil that ends up getting topsoil and seeded.
Okay.
So it'll be grass. And it is rated to the 80 or 90,000 pounds as required by fire code.
I just have a quick question about the recreation area. So there's nothing really programmed on it. It's just going to be an open space. And will it be sort of obvious to residents that this is the area where they can recreate, where they can gather and kick a ball? Or is it just sort of hoped that they will understand that that space is available to them for that kind of activity?
It's a great question. Some of the alternatives we studied were program spaces and it felt forced. We think we're not going to advertise this as recreation space. We think it is just going to naturally be found. Again, based on its proximity to the Smith Robinson house, which is very central to building 1 and 2. I want to get wherever I go, I try and find a flat spot to throw a ball on. So
Right.
we think it's going to kind of operate more naturally.
Right, it'll just evolve naturally, and I agree, I don't think it should be overly programmed, I was just sort of curious as to residents would sort of feel free or comfortable to use the space.
We designed the landscaping along State Street to not overtake the space. We like how State Street engages the property and we didn't want to lose that. But we also wanted to create a little bit of a natural border, so if somebody did kick a ball, would roll into State Street.
Right.
So the landscaping plan specifically has low-lying shrubs, but strong enough to be reinforced so that, you know, balls and stuff won't roll out, just in case people use that space. But again, we didn't want to make it so prominent
Right.
that we screened ourselves off from State Street. We still want to engage the street.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we were talking about, was having, originally it was kind of inside the confined courtyard, is having just an open space that was, yeah, that can just be used for residents. But I think I think it accomplishes it. I don't know.
That answers my question. And I think that coupled with all the other, amenity spaces, in the courtyard, in the pool area.
Yeah, right, I mean, it's just a different kind of
Yep.
amenity space or recreation space than you have in that kind of like tree lined plaza, I guess, out between the three buildings. Okay, can we put up the lighting plan? Because I know that was something that Tony specifically pulled out for us to take a look at. So maybe you could walk us through this, just the fixture types and just kind of any comments on the photometric plan. It looks like, I mean, we can see the spillage, and Tony commented that there's no real spillage from this plan as it's designed, so.
So we have, the type of fixtures that are being specified in the upper right-hand corner, just so you can see what they look like. I'll start with all of them are dark sky compliant, direct downlit. All of them are 3000 K or less, which is sort of what you have to be to meet dark sky compliant. The most predominant fixture is the one in the lower left-hand corner, the in-view epic. That's the one that you see all around the courtyard. We do have some bollard lighting, which is in the lower right-hand corner.
So the in-view, that's a sconce, so that's connected to the wall, post mounted.
That'll be post mounted. Okay. So the only one that's connected to the buildings is fixture B in the upper right-hand corner. Which occurs, I believe, by the garbage chutes, by the trash driveway off of State Street. But predominantly in the courtyard up the access road, we're gonna be using fixture C, which is the in-view. In a couple of isolated areas, we have fixture A, which is a little bit more of a traditional direct down light, full mounted light.
And where's fixture, the bollard light, you said, I think you said this, I mean, it's a D.
Bollard light D is in the lower right-hand corner, and that we're using on the northern end of the courtyard where we have all the sidewalks, just to create some supplemental lighting, some lower level lighting on the sidewalk.
Okay. So on that area that we were talking about before that.
Yeah, exactly. So 3000 K, typically one of your warmer lights, it's not very cold, it's left out of daylight, almost a little bit to the yellow bulb.
Yes. Looks good. Sorry, and we're going through this and having one other thought that we discussed a couple meetings ago, and I just want to make sure we're kind of good with it, was just, we discussed the material, this is not really lighting related at all. Though, the material on that masonry stair heading down from the Smith Robinson house. So I just want to get a sense of where we are with that, because that was just, been discussed and talked about. I just want to make sure we have a sense of it.
Yeah, sure. If you mind flipping over to our presentation. Yeah. Gotta go to the end of our set. Yeah, a couple pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the intent is that will be kind of a stone wall that matches the existing stone that runs along State Street with bluestone cap, and then most likely concrete risers and treads until you get to the Smith Robinson house kind of terrace.
Okay, so it's that same stone wall that you're taking that existing stone wall and kind of replicating that.
Yeah.
Right here. Okay, I mean, that looks much more developed and looks
I think it looks great.
I wanna point out, one other just design change so that everybody is aware of it, and if you go, up a page or two. So thankfully, we're at a point where we can start to really collaborate with the structural engineer, mechanical engineers, who've been working out all of the building systems. If you go to the left a little bit. One thing that we realized in that effort is that our garage base was too fat. And it was kind of a leftover from when we had this large podium beneath the buildings. We had aligned the outside face of the foundation walls with the outside face of the building, and it made the garage, the spans between the columns like too great, and it was bigger than it needed to be by code and for a whole bunch of reasons. So if you go to that other presentation has the same view, you'll see that that brick base that it used to sit on was like flush with that, most proud surface of the building, and we kind of took that up and down as just a kind of artistic expression. So when we pulled in the garage to be like a normal width, it didn't make sense to carry the brick up onto the upper portions of the facade. Actually think that the new version is a little bit more honest in that the building is sitting on like a brick plinth. And then if you go back to the other one. Oop. Perfect. The siding comes down to the residential level, so it kind of sits in and out that way. I just wanted to, all the renderings, all the elevations and stuff have all been updated, but it, it's a subtle change, so just want to make sure we pointed it out.
Understood, and thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, you have that line, that foundation line. Material function. I mean, when you first showed this rendering, I didn't even pick up on the difference. I think this looks nice. Right. Any other feedback from the board? We looked at the site plan, now we've looked at some changes to the architectural design. At this point, if we're in a position where we feel like the site plan has been developed kind of to the point where we are, where it is or it is nearly approvable, I think this before, because there's it may be helpful to have a really bit better explanation for it. I kind of don't know if this is you as far as the special permit from, or this is from Nelson Pope, but the special permit requirement from the DOT. Because I know that we need to now, the next step in this process would be for this board to forward this to the Board of Trustees to review and issue the special permit. And it'd just be helpful to have a better explanation, an updated explanation to the board members here in terms of what that permit will accomplish.
I can pull up that criteria, but in the meantime, do you want to do the public hearing?
We can do that for sure. I have a motion to reopen the public hearing on the application. All right, so I'm going to make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All right, any objections? We are now in the public hearing. Is there someone who has somebody in the public hearing? So you're welcome. You can introduce yourself and your place of residence and
Good evening. My name is Mark Fry. I live at the Squire office. I've been on the National Register. We love it. Visited historic churches all of my life. And I'm so very happy, as I said before, that Wild Walter partners and their spectacular team here are doing a great job on that restoration of the Smith Robinson house, not the entire house, but the front facade is iconic. Or if I come down to State Street over to Broad Street all the time, I see that lovely building and I'm awfully happy. I watched as it was demolition by neglect. I called a couple of people I thought could help. But in any event, I'm glad to Mr. Walter and his partners are taking that building and saving it in the nick of time, because that view coming down Broad Street is an important view for everyone. We're just, I don't have any other substantive comments, but I wanted to compliment all of you. I've appeared in great numbers of planning boards, and I've never seen a planning board that has a greater attention to detail. I've never seen better preparation. I've never seen a planning board that reads all the documents and comes up with thoughtful, well-informed comments. At the same time, do not represent Wild Baldrige. I think the team, their team has done an extraordinary job in being responsive and also detail oriented, as I guess we all are. And I just want to say, I don't represent the people of Ossining either, but I'm sure I can say confidence that we're thankful. So many people who are so well qualified are volunteering their time to preserve the character of it.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody on the Zoom, meeting rooms to speak? There's nobody there. I'd like to adjourn the public hearing.
Richard, our motion to adjourn.
On the first and second.
All right, any objections to that? Aaron, I guess that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, so this requires a planned waterfront special permit, and so that's within the Board of Trustees jurisdiction, so. How it works under the codes, once the board is content with the site plan, it has to make a recommendation to the Board of Trustees. Essentially as to suitability of the special permit, whether or not it works in line with the site development plan, so you're really just giving your feedback. So they can.
We've spent 8 months, I think, at this, maybe longer, more. A long time looking at this application. I think, looking at how it's evolved from what was first presented to where it is right now is, reflects a lot of, I think really good changes for the village and for the project. And, I think it's at that point, from my perspective, it's at that point, but, it'd be good to hear any other feedback from the board.
I agree. So move forward. Absolutely.
It's amazing how this has evolved.
Yeah, I really enjoyed working with the team. I think that they were very responsive to all the comments. It's a great project.
I would second, third that. I did have just a quick question about process. So if we refer today to the DOT in terms of the comments that are on the Nelson Code, the sort of conditions that still have to be met, how does that work? When they come back to us for site plan approval, is that when we address this, even though we're saying tonight we're comfortable with the project site plan?
So the conditions in the NP memo, my understanding, the condition approval, and so they can still go to the Board of Trustees with the permit review, but ultimately they're making changes.
Like any other site plan, when we're ready to approve the site plan, these are conditions, prior to building permit, for the applicant to meet or prior to, a number of sometimes certificate of occupancy, sometimes.
Even if they get a special permit from the Board of Trustees, they don't get affection.
I was just, because I know that some of these have, there's additional action that has to be taken. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. And again, I do think that's a great project. It's been exciting to see it.
Great, so can I have a motion to recommend this application to the Board of Trustees for review of the special permit?
Chair, for motion to recommend DOT.
Michael Aaron's second.
And do a roll call.
Move it away, Richard Klein.
Aye.
Bill Aronson. Aye. Eric Talbot.
Aye.
Holly Thurston. And Chair Wood.
All right, so that's that. We have the motion to adjourn the application.
Aaronson, welcome to adjourn.
Holly Thurston second.
And any objections to that? Not see any. You guys are learned, love to see and hope to see you back here very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think that doesn't have a motion to adjourn this meeting. Or something, we can, Richard Mark second, or any objection? Very good, and decisions, that's it, that's it. Just guys, I think I spoke most of
Oh,
the
hold
guys.
on. Good night.